Hi, it's Mal, your gal pal, the host of Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. If you're looking for a podcast that's talking about relationship, careers, and pop culture from the Christian perspective, look no further. You have found her. And this podcast, myself and some of my friends are sharing our opinions from the Christian perspective, and they might be a little bit different than what you're expecting. So go ahead, pour yourself some tea. Let's get into it. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Mal, your gal pal. Welcome to My Pink Dress. You were listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. That has been on the air for 6 beautiful, glorious years. Welcome to the 6th year episode. I am just, wow. 6 years. This is just going to be a quicker, more like a bonus episode, kind of like reflecting on the 6 years. I cannot believe I've been podcasting for 6 years. When I look at the timeline of those other girls, it's just so crazy how things have changed, things that have worked, that have not worked, people I've met, friends I've made along the way, things that I've been really blessed to participate in. It's just so crazy. Like, just thinking about those other girls for 6 years. You know, I say this probably every year, as well as whenever Spotify does their like recaps of podcasts, stuff like that. The average podcast only lasts about 6 episodes. People give up a lot. And there are podcasts that I've had on, people I've had on podcasts that have given up. And I'd be lying if I said there weren't moments here and there, especially in the last, I'll say like 2-ish years. Yeah, 2-ish years where I've wanted to just like kind of stop, but I didn't. And I'm really glad I didn't. And 6 years. Wow. There's a part of me that looks back on these 6 years because thankfully there has been steady growth. There have been seasons where growth has been like shot up. And then right now, I'll be honest, we're more of in like a slow uphill. I look at the analysts and stuff. There has been growth. That's great. But like I said, there were a moment where it was like whoosh, like a straight line up. And I think back on those moments and I think back on the person that I was, the things that I believed. Well, most of my beliefs haven't changed, but maybe like, yeah, anyway. I look back on that and it's just so crazy seeing how like these things go. When you think of all of the very popular, I mean, obviously there is a podcast that everybody here probably knows that's very popular. She has a huge team, maybe not a huge team, but the team does huge things for her. And, you know, I'm not knocking that, like, that's the goal. And you look at that and you see the growth of that. And, you know, you look around and you see all these other things and it's like, wow, I've accomplished what I've accomplished and it's just me. I don't have help. There are times where I've had help, where I have had help and then the person decides they want to move forward on something else. But like right now, like everything, those other girls, Mal your gal pal, the pink, all that stuff, I do solo myself. I do wish I had a sister because that would be lovely to have some help, but I don't. So I just do it myself. And I just think like how proud I am that I'm able to do that. And I just think, you know, if you are thinking of doing a podcast, if you're thinking of starting a business, if you're thinking of doing something, I'm thinking like a lot of people do these things with someone and it is easier. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, I do it myself and everything's no, it's hard. It's hard work. It's if you aren't saying record this episode and you can't push yourself to record that, the episode's not getting recorded. Whereas if you had a partner, the partner can encourage you and you guys encourage it. It's just like a different dynamic, but that's just not what everybody has. And I just want to encourage you, like if you have to do something solo, like do it. It is so much better to do things solo than not at all. I'm going to say it again. It is so much better to do things solo than not at all. If I decided I could not do 90% of the things that I want to do because someone else isn't coming with me or because nobody understands what I want to do, then I would not do half of the 90%, really 90% of the things that I want to do. It is so much better. Just go ahead and do it by yourself. And it can still be fun to do by yourself. I think that's one of the things people are like, oh, if I do it by myself, it's not going to be as fun. Sure, obviously, you want your friends, you want someone to do things with. Life is meant to be shared, but you can still have fun. You can still have fulfillment. It could still be an enjoyable experience if it's by yourself. I think about the Jonas Brothers concert last year. I went, they're touring again. Hopefully, I'm going to go again this year. Ooh, go Joe Bros. I went by myself and I really didn't want to go, but nobody wanted to go with me. And I was like, well, maybe. I said, no, I want to do this. This is something I want to do. I have been excited to do this. I have wanted to do this for a while. I'm going to go to this concert and I am going to enjoy myself. And you know what? I did. I had a great time. One of the girls beside me, she and I like vibed a lot. I looking back, I should have just asked for her Instagram and gotten a picture with her. She was really chill. She was there with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend. So it was so interesting. This is just a side note. It was so interesting. Both of the girls beside me were there with their boyfriends. The girl on this side was there with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was like taking pictures. He was like singing along. You could tell it wasn't his favorite band, but he was still like in. You could tell he was like happy to be with his girl. On this side, the guy sat down except for all time low open for them. Hope it gives you when I see your face. Oh my god, why am I blanking? That's all time low. All time low. No, it's all time low. Yes, no. When I see your face, I forgive you. All American Rejects. Wow, why did I think All Time Low? All American Rejects opened for them. And he stood up for most of that, and not all of it, for most of it, and you can tell he enjoyed that. Jonas Brothers, he's just sat down, kind of like, you can tell he didn't want to be there. And then because of that, I could tell she kind of didn't really want to be. She was like not as into it as me and the other girl. It was just interesting dynamic. So once again, like, she probably would have had more fun if she had just gone by herself and not with her boyfriend. But, some people can't do things by themselves, and you should. It is so much better to do things by yourself than not at all. Okay, anyway, that's a wrap up on that. Let's talk. I have a docket, of course. That's another thing too. Like, I didn't start off with dockets. Like, I just, so much growth. I want to talk about like 6 moments over the 6 years that I have just like really enjoyed, that have been like so great over these last 6 years, and then kind of just looking forward to the future of like what more this will be, the direction that it's going in, and everything. Okay, so the number one moment, and honestly this will probably always be the number one moment, ideally I'll have more moments like this, but this was just so great, was the tea party in Lynchburg. It was so fun. It was like a god thing. Like, it was so fun the way like it worked out. I met some people that I had been messaging, and like we had tea, and it was so good. Everything was really good. The food, we got really cute pictures. We heard really great speakers. Culture of Life, and they were doing clothes, was there. It was just like such a fun event. People made friends. People connected and made friends. I met people that I had never met before. Maybe they had like been listening, or I think 1 or 2 people had never even heard of it, but their friend was like, hey, I'm going to this thing, you should come with me. And like we messaged on Instagram, or like friendly. Like, it was just such a fun event. And I just smile thinking about like, I wanted a specific number. I got that specific number. People came, they had fun. God, it was such a great event. Everybody looked great. I mean, other girls, we naturally like dress really well, but like everybody just looks so pretty. Dresses, like, it was just such a fun event. Like, there was a moment where things were a little crazy because like it was supposed to be private, but it wasn't, and then we had speakers, so it was just like a little confusing, but it was still like really fun. I was able to pay the down payment when the time came. It was just like it was so fun, and like the speakers and everybody just looked really cute, and it was great. And I love tea parties. That's just a part of femininity that I just have gravitated toward for years. Before I even had this is just a side note, before I even had those little girls at my jewelry store. And I used to do this thing with this inner city camp that I used to volunteer with, where we would have a tea party and I'd have like a speaker come and we would decorate it. My mom had these 2 friends that also did jewelry, and like same type of vibe of me, but they were like much older, great women. They're like mentors. I guess they were like mentors. Like, at the time, I don't think I thought of that, but like, looking back, I kind of were. And I would like they would help set things up, and like they would help me, and I would be like leading, and I would do tea parties for like these little girls, and we just had such a good time. That was fun too. But I've just always loved tea parties, and that's kind of like how it's just thinking of the evolution of like the TCAP. So it used to be like a weekly recap, and then it turned into the TCAP. So just like the tea, and tea. I don't know. It's just like, anyway. And then we had the tea party. It was just so fun. And people, just so you know, people still talk about that tea party today. I want to throw more. I do. That is in the horizon. Hopefully one day. Just gotta figure out logistics, because listeners are all over the country, and we just need, yeah. Okay. That's the one thing. Yeah. Listeners all over the country. Like, there's a couple speakers, there's a couple listeners that I talk to like on a reg that don't live like even on the East Coast. And I wish there was a way, like in my head in the future, specifically my listeners that have been here, you know who you are, I love you, from the beginning. I wish I could like fly her to wherever we go. I think about this all the time too. I'm even thinking like, my 40th birthday, I want to be like huge. I kind of want my friends that I've met on Instagram to come too. Like, how do I, like, even the ones that we haven't met in real life, like, I really like that. I love them. Like, I still want to be friends, and I would think it would be really fun. And I'm like, if I could have the money to just fly them out, like, they don't have to worry about anything. You just fly out to the destination, and like, we'll just hang and have a good time. But anyway, moving forward, the second thing is like speaking engagements. I've been really blessed. I've spoken up and down the East Coast, and part of it has been just people seeing the podcast and just kind of hearing what I have to say, and then wanting me to speak, and that has been really great. I've always loved public speaking. One thing about me is I'm going to talk. I actually have a gold medal in jibber jabber. Okay, for those that don't watch Community, that's like a joke from Community. But yeah, no, I am a gold medalist in jibber jabber, and I love it. When people say they get nervous public speaking, I don't. I get more nervous. Like, this is what's so crazy. I feel like I get more nervous if I'm speaking in front of like 5 or 6 people than I do if like 5 or 600. I don't know why. Like, that just that's just the quirky thing about me. So yeah, so I have had really a lot of speaking engagements, a lot of things that have happened because of the podcast. And that has just been a really big blessing, because it's, once again, I love speaking. That's something that I like. I mean, heck, I have a podcast, but also a lot of it has been about the life issue. And I just think that it's really important for myself and others who are like me to speak up. And I think that having these speaking engagements, having these opportunities to speak and to kind of show the world that like you can be fun, cute, and girly and also be pro-life. You can also, I'm Black. I'm a person of color, as they say. And, we don't see a lot of that. We just don't. We don't see a lot of that. And then when we do, anyway, we don't see a lot of that. And I just think it's important for me and those, like I said, who are similar to me, alternative pro-lifers is what they're sometimes called, to have opportunities like that, to be able to also offer my experience and offer some ideas. I think that, I'm very blessed. I haven't, been in a situation where, that's even an option for me. But I also have an experience with like talking about culture, and I have a wide range of friendships, and I try my best to be engaged in culture because A, it's fun, I enjoy it, and then B, like I do want to make a difference. So part of it is actually like being engaged and like being a part of culture. So I have this, I have a finger on the pulse a little bit more than I think some other people who do get these opportunities. So I think like having myself and those like me be able to speak or like talk to groups and things like that, I think that is just great. I think it's very helpful and beneficial. But yeah. And then also, like, last thing I want to say is also taught me like the importance of your voice. Like I said, gold medal and jibber jabber, but like it wasn't until recently where like I realized that like like people, I can say something and like people can listen and like make opinions or ideas and like think differently. I mean, when you talk so much, you kind of just say stuff. Kelly Kapoor said it best. But it's also like made me very aware of the things that I'm saying and kind of making sure that like I'm not just talking to talk. I mean, I still do, but like I try to do that when it's like not serious. Like if it's something serious, like I try to speak articulately. I try to make sure that like if I am going to talk, it is going to be something that is worth listening to. And that has been great on me on a personal level. The third thing is all of my friends that have been co-hosts. It's so crazy. So it started off, as many of you know, with me and Bailey, my friend Bailey. And then, she had to no longer do it. And then Victoria and Isabel and Freeman, and those are all the like official co-hosts, I guess you could say. And it was like a blast. Like when I think about the highs with having all those people as those co-hosts, I just think about like how much fun it was, and like how it was great to like just kind of like talk about different topics, and it was great to share our opinions on things. And things have changed a lot over the last couple of years in regards to like what let me think of how to I'll just say things have changed. Like it's not necessarily the same. I don't do as many co-hosted episodes. I wish I did, but once again, like I've said this before on podcasts, like you were given the idea, vision, and dream, and like if someone else wasn't, they're just not, it's going to be hard for them to be as enthusiastic, hard for them to make time, hard for them to want to be as involved as you, and you have to kind of just like be okay with that. That's kind of like what happened with all of the co-hosts, but it's just been really fun. Like, and what I always liked to do is like have co-hosts that were kind of different in the sense of, we might be seeing a situation from different angles. And that's what I always like to do when I mean, I still have friends come on and co-host whenever they're available, but that's what I like. I like when we're having conversations and we kind of not argue, but like we have a different perspective, because other girls have a different perspective on things. It's just like our values and like where we're concrete are just different. And that's where it's going to like that's where I think good discussion comes. I mean, I think back on some episodes where myself and another co-host disagreed on a topic, and then when we kind of talked it out, we were kind of saying the same thing, but we were thinking about it from a different angle. And I think that having those type of conversations in real life and in person, in real life and in person, the same thing. In person and in real, I'm saying it again. Having these same conversations with your friends and being able to talk through these things and like still love the person, I think is an important skill that we have kind of lost over the years. But I think that it is definitely like something we need to remember. No, but I think it's like really important for us to look back, and lost my train of thought. But yeah, all the conversations and the friends and like just like some of the fun. I mean, the laughs, like I love laughing. And sometimes just like the laughs, the jokes. I mean, one that I always think about is cocaine. Yes, cocaine is a drug, is a hard drug. That's one I think about a lot, because that was funny to me. I mean, I'm sure there's ones you guys think about, but like that was funny to me. Well, yes, cocaine is a hard drug. And then just some other jokes. Like we did an episode where like Melanie, who hosts a podcast for Those Are the Girls Media Network now, but she would sometimes come co-host with me. She did the intro like backwards, and like I don't think anyone really got it but us, but we were like cackling. And it's just like moments like that. So fun. So fun. And that's what I miss about having a permanent co-host, is moments like that. I mean, I still laugh at myself. I still say really funny things, but it's just, I don't know, when you have the co-host, like more of a banter, and yeah. So that's something I miss, but it is what it is. All right. Fourth thing, the pads and tampon collection, which this is a great time for me to plug. We're doing 600 pads for 6 years of Those Are the Girls. So I'm raising $600. So it's about a dollar a pad. I'm guessing. I don't know like specifically. And then I'm not 100% sure what brands I'm definitely going to be organic. So I don't, anyway, the point is, the goal is we're donating 600 pads for the 6th year of Those Are the Girls. If you would like to donate, if you would like to be part of it, as we were the very, very first time I did this, I was like floored, so happy, shocked how many people donated. It was like really cool. And then I remember taking a picture of the card and like all the stuff that we got. And the shelter, the women's shelter that we donated to was like flabbergasted as well. And it's a women's shelter in Charlotte. And I just want to, so for those that do not know, part of the reason why I got into this is in college, I read this random article. I think it was on Facebook or something, but it was just saying how like the least donated item in women's shelters are like pads and tampons. I'm sick with pads right now because I did talk to one of the directors of the shelter. She said we just really need pads. Part of the reason is sometimes it is women who it's just so much easier to do a pad, and it's safer and healthier. And then they have been getting a lot of women who have just recently given birth and need pads. And obviously you're not gonna use a tampon if you just gave birth, so you're gonna want pads. So I'm saying with pads, but these are the least donated items. And I just remember thinking, like, that is so small. Like, pads are so small, minute. We don't really think about, at least for me, I do have a subscription to Garnu, so it is kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I don't ever think like, oh my god, where am I gonna get a pad from? Unless it's like the day of sometimes. But like, you guys know what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not something like that's on my mind constantly. I'm not always feeling this like, I'm not in period poverty. And I think that every woman should be that way. So we're doing it again. We're doing 600 pads for 6 years. I have linked for the donation, I've linked it, the GoFundMe. And I hope you are able to donate and share. And once I, donate and deliver and everything, like, you guys will know. But I'm just super excited. And like the very first, it was just like such a cool thing. I think it was like the first time I've like ever actually raised money for something. And I was happy. I was happy. So yeah, we're doing it again. And we also, just a side note to other things we've done the love boxes for a church here in Charlotte. And as a matter of fact, the director texted me the other day and was like, hey, do you have any more of those onesies? And I was like, I can try to get some. Give me some time. But it's like, we've done those things. And this is also just a side note. When we're talking about building a meaningful life, when we're talking about living a fulfilling life, when we're talking about just like being part of a community, it's like these tiny things that you can do that are like tangible and like, I think are just so important to making a better society. I really hope that when you are thinking of those other girls, when you are thinking of being an other girl, if you're listening and you consider yourself an other girl, I hope that like these ideas of like helping your community, I'm thinking specifically women because like for the girls, and I'm a girl and I love women, but I hope I hope you are thinking of ways to help your community, and obviously specifically women because of those are the girls. But if you want to help men too, that's fine. But like just helping women, like helping each other, because like that is how we're gonna move forward. That is also how you learn and connect with other people of your community that you might not know. So yeah, make sure you donate. I'll link everything. Don't you worry, pretty little head. Some of the things. The fifth thing is everything I've learned. I have learned so much on this podcast. So much. Seriously, like that's another reason why I gotta go to reach back. That's the other thing too, you do it by yourself, is reaching out to the guests. I have to follow up with some people who I want to have come on the podcast. Literally, especially at the beginning, if I wanted to learn something about a topic, I would just like reach out to a guest that could talk about the topic. I have learned so much about so many things. I mean, my thoughts and opinions on like the environment has changed. My thoughts and opinions or abortion has changed. I'm definitely more of an abolitionist than I was at the beginning of the podcast. I'll say that. I've learned so much about women's health. Oh my god, about periods, about like just about like our bodies and like what we're capable of. Oh, I learned about nervous system most recently. That was a really great guest that I had on talking about the nervous system. Like, I have learned so much about everything. Oh my, I still think, and I still use a statistic when I had for a woman on to talk about human trafficking, and about how she said like you're more likely to be trafficked by someone because everyone's afraid that someone in Target's going to kidnap them, but no, actually, like, your homeboy is more likely to traffic you than them. So it's just like tiny things like that have just been so like, I just learned so much. Learned so much on this podcast. That is like the fifth thing. And then the sixth thing, to wrap this up, is everyone that I have met through the podcast. So like I said, there's people who I have met through the podcast that came to the tea party, the podcast that didn't come, but like, we message sometimes, and like if I hadn't started the podcast, I don't know if we would have met. And like that has been really great. Like that is definitely like a highlight of the podcast. It's just like the different people that I've met, and like just the encouragement. And then just, there's like a couple people who found the podcast way back in 2020, 2021, maybe even 2022, that still listen. And I have a lot of new listeners now because of life. And the people who have still listened from 2020, 2021, 2022 to now, like, so honored and blessed, first of all. But it's just like a really cool thing that they like stuck with me and like are so fun, cool, and chill. Like everybody that I've met that listens to the podcast is fun, cool, and chill. And you can't say that about all podcasts. Let me tell you. You cannot say that about all podcasts. So yeah, I feel really blessed to have like a really cool audience. There was a time where my audience was kind of losing me, because as one thing that is very important to me is speaking the truth with grace and in love. And there was a time where people who were not within grace and within love were kind of creeping in on here. And there was a fork in the road where I could go in one direction and probably skyrocket and probably make a crap ton of money. But I decided to go another direction, staying with my morals, my values. And I think the people that I've met along that path have been like fantastic. And the people that I've lost, sayonara. I hope you come to your senses. Yeah. But yeah, I love my audience. I love you guys. I really do. I'm very grateful. Anybody that listens in general, I'm grateful that you listen, that you pull up. And I hope to, for many, many more years, to be bringing you entertainment as well as education. I am going to have more guests on to talk about like some specific topics. And honestly, like reach out, let me know if there's like a topic or something that you're interested in, that you want a guest on, and I'll try to reach out to them and see if we can get them on. But yeah, I just very grateful for everyone that I've met. I'm grateful for these last 6 years. I'm grateful for the things that I've learned. I'm just grateful. Like I love having my own show. I have wanted a show for years, and I'm very glad that I just went ahead and did it. And I'm also, something else that I have to say is like not giving up. There are times in our lives, and I'm just going to end it on this. There are times in our lives where we are at a fork in the road, where we can decide, like, you know what, this is never going to work out. I want X, Y, and Z. It's never going to happen. And we can choose to stop or keep going. And I think, like, part of the reason why I don't ever want to stop, part of the reason why I kept going, even when some results have not been what I've wanted, by now I did hope to be a part of a large network and not have to, once I'm done recording this, I'm gonna have to go through and edit and do my own marketing. Like I, by year 6, I did not think this would be it. I did not want this, if I'm being honest. But what has kept me going is like, I just love sharing my opinion. I love talking about things. I love when I have guests on. I'm telling you, like, it's the highlight of my week, especially when I have guests or my friends, and we can just like chat about, okay, did you see this? I know, girl. Okay, and then this is what I'm thinking. It's truly the highlight of my week. The parts that I dislike, obviously, are the editing. I just like it. But if I'm not going to do it, no one will. So you do it. But I just want to say, like, if there's still things in your life and you're excited about it, you still want to do it, I think that's kind of the sign to keep going. I know a lot of people would have stopped. I know people in my personal life that told me I probably should have. But I decided to keep going, and I will. And like, as I've said before, things on the podcast have kind of changed. Like, who I am as a person, I have grown a lot, I believe. And like, my thoughts and opinions have grown. And I have seen the world in a very different way because of personal experiences in the last couple of years. And I think with that, this podcast has grown. And I just want to say, like, I'm never going to stop being an other girl. Like, I definitely feel like different. And I hate this, like, I'm not like other girls. Like, I hate that that's a connotation. Someone had made that comment, like, I'm not like other. No, it's not that. It's like, it's I am different. Like I just have different thoughts and opinions on things that like some people in my life just don't have. And I am, oh gosh, she's one of those other girls. Yeah, I am one of those other girls, and I'm okay with that. Like I've accepted that. Like this is just who I am, and I'm okay being that. Like being something a little different. But at the same time, let me tell you, I'm also in that. I'm right there in the crowd. My top 4 movies this year so far: Odyssey, Spider-Man, Obsession, and then there's one more that like everybody liked. There's one more that everybody liked that I can't think of right off the bat. I saw someone, and then someone was commenting, was like, well, this is the regular. Yep, that's right. I am regular. I am the normie. My brother and I were laughing about something. Something happened. I was like, oh, that sounds fun. And he's like, ugh, you're such a normie. Yeah, I am. I am. Now, what I got out of some of these movies and my thoughts and opinions on some of these movies are probably going to be different than what people in my normie world think. But like, yeah, I'm a normie and I'm okay with that. And I love it. I love it. Sorry. I love life. I hope you learn to love it too. Yeah, I'm trying to think anything else to say. Just I don't know, like keep going, keep doing it. And if things just never go the way that you wanted, I think you can still get something out of it. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. Have a great day, night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Happy 6 years to those are the girls. Many more to come. Bye.